Okay,
I
so
don't.
we left
I want to be
what?
that bat boy to try to save the what's his name, Ohanti, whatever. I don't know if you saw that. Bat boy caught a ball headed right for his head. Just want to see one of the kids do that for you.
I'm behind the net, Ferris. I'm not. I'm not. It's funny. Yeah, can you still hear me clear? Yeah, Jesse, you're in the pool.
Baruch Hashem. Opening
Ah,
day.
I was wondering, it took so long.
Yeah. Pool's
I
up,
hear.
new
Okay.
float.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Ferris, Ferris,
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem.
Ferris, did you see that? The ball just came right into the net, knocked down the phone.
I'm telling you, man, you guys should come to me for brachas.
Yeah, I know you go buy a lottery ticket. Yeah. Anyways, okay, you hit record. You hit record.
It's recording.
Yes,
It's
Okay,
recording.
yes.
okay. Okay, so we had this Yisrael sticker machlokes, Shiloh, right? So we said yesterday it's a machlokes Mishlakis and Abai and Rava whether you if, whether there's a chazaka that a person ever prepays back 2 days alone. There's a person ever prepaid alone. Meaning the guy comes to you and says, "I lent you a lot of money," and the guy says, "I paid you back 3 months ago." Right? Do we even believe the guy or do we don't believe the guy? Right? He could have just lied and he could have just said, "I paid it back on time." Instead, he said, "I paid it back early." Well, do we believe him? Do we not believe him? Right? So that's basically the shalat. But meaning, what is the side of the machlokes? So we have a chazaka, right? That we pass in that there's a chazaka, nobody will ever prepay alone. Okay. So they have the chazaka versus a midu that if the guy wanted to lie, he could have lied a lot better. Right? Meaning the chazaka says he would never have paid back early, so therefore we should not believe him.
Even if I
And the-
always pay back my loans on time, that doesn't matter.
Correct. You mean if you have some sort of proof from Bezdin, or this guy pays his back
I'm
his
just
loans
saying,
early.
every time I've borrowed money in the last 10 years, I paid it back. I paid it back on time. That has nothing to do with it. My personal chazaka doesn't change.
It seems like it. You asked me a good question. I'm going to talk. What would you say if there's a chazaka, if he himself has a chazaka? Meaning if he brings Adis that he always pays back early.
Yeah. Let's say he has Adis every day. I've borrowed money 10 times over the last 10 years. Every time I paid it back on time, and I have Adis on each one.
Yeah, I don't know talking. Maybe that would change the chazaka. I guess we'll have to wait for Teskus about them to learn more about chazaka. Right? But anyways, but the point is that most people do not pay back their loan early. So the chazaka says that this guy's lying. However, he has a legal that if he was lying, why didn't he just say he paid it back on time? He would basically be fine, right? So why did he do that? So Elamai, we have conflicting proofs. The chazaka tells us he's lying. The legal tells us he's not lying. That was the shaila. So that takes us to the second line down on Bava Medallah. So the Gemara basically repeats proof that it had on the previous yeah, so Tashima,
But
second
see,
line down.
a chazaka
Yeah.
is not this type of chazaka is not a proof. Chazaka is never a proof.
Chazaka is never, it's not a proof, but the question is, he has to, the meaning is, I think, is the burden of proof on him? No?
Well, it's a mighty mechavev, right? No.
Well, the question is, was the chazaka doing to make him a liar?
Well, wouldn't that be the ultimate chazaka?
Wouldn't that be the ultimate chazaka? What? I'm about to make her a liar? That's a chazaka?
Yeah.
Why is that a chazaka?
Well, the money's in his hands. You want to be mighty, you have to bring a riot. He's multi. What do you mean?
Here. Well, how do you even however you're gonna understand that for all these dinim about a loan?
I agree.
I guess is that the shot? Yeah, but this chazaka is going against that chazaka.
That's what I'm saying. A chazaka can't be mighty. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Chazaka definitely can't be mighty.
Right.
Who's being mighty over here?
Well, the lender is trying to be mighty from the borrower. No?
But
Is he using a chazaka for that, or he's using his Adim, no?
What Adam?
They're Adim that he made the loan.
It's Adam alone, but there's no Adam that it was
Yeah, there's
paid
no
back.
Adam. He owes him the money.
Yeah, but if he says he paid it back on time, he's believed. If he says he prepaid it, we're saying he's not believed,
Correct.
right? So
Now
now we
you
have
want to use the chazaka to be mighty it. What's the
Right.
chazaka gonna do?
I hear that.
No, because it keeps chazaka is not being mitzvah here. It's keeping things the way it is, that he didn't pay back the loan, that he owes
Right.
money. No,
Right.
not being mighty over here. You're just keeping things the way they are. There's an outstanding loan.
Well, I'm saying the question is he believe.
Right, that's the whole shadow. Look,
Yeah,
Gemara.
yeah.
They're not.
Okay. Anyway, so the main side here is it's chazaka that he's lying versus a legal that he's not lying. That's the shadow. So Tashima. Now look, the Gemara brings a couple of proofs from our mission. Tashima. If he has a chazaka, meaning he says we have a chazaka that the Mishnah says that when a wall falls down, then there's a chazaka that meaning he has to build up the wall, and there's a chazaka that he paid for the wall. Meaning both parties, when the wall falls down, have to pay for the wall. Just talk about that. So if you tell me what's the case, even if it's man, we're talking about where he asked him to pay back after this man was to pay back, but I'm gonna let his money, and he said I already paid it back on time and cheaper. So that's pocket. That he's believed that he paid it back. Elulad, what must it be? The Amarle, Piratic, the first money that I paid with your fingers money. Alma, I feel the Makan Chazaka, I'm meaning Mali the Shaka. So you see that even the Makan Chazaka, even when there's a Chazaka, that he would not have paid it back early, you see that we say Mali the Shaka, which is legal, and he could be fine. Well, it's a Shani also, the Kol, stuff of the Shafra. It's Manehu, like we said in yesterday's doc, that each row, it's not considered like he's prepaying, because we have this bin that every time you have a row of bricks that's put onto every time you add on a row of bricks, then you're going to pay. So therefore, it's not considered like he's prepaying. Fine. So we said that if you build the wall, let's say the wall is 6 amas high, and now it falls down. So they have to both pay for the wall. However, he only has to pay for 4 amas over, because that's the minimum. That's the minimum. It's 4 amas, right? So he only has to pay back 4 amas. And there's a chazaka that he did not pay, right? So oh no, I'm sorry. It's the next case. But if you put a kaisel, well, I skipped one step here. If we build a wall of 6 amas, and the neighbor says, I'm only paying up to 4 amas. So the neighbor's in the right, he only has to pay up to 4 amas. However, if the neighbor then goes and makes a parallel wall that's 6 amas high, so then he shows that he's very happy with the wall going up to 6 amas. Therefore, he is trying to pay for the 6 amas wall. Right? So he said, so someone like Kaisala, then he's time to pay for that. Actually, Yomi riots or nothing. And we said the Gemara skipped those words. But the Mishnah say, and the chazaka is that he didn't pay it back until he didn't arrive and he did pay it back. So Hekizari, what's the case? You don't have to double on because I don't know. It was something that really prevailed after the time. From a like Parati, his man, and he says, I paid it back on time on my word. So then why is he not believed? He said he paid it back on time. Why shouldn't he be believed? Elulad, the Amar Parati, it's like money. He says, I paid it back during the time, meaning before the loan was due. I'm looking for Zaka. So you see, the one person has a Zaka, so he's not believed. Loyan Mina Mali L'Saka. We don't see Mali L'Saka, and therefore he has to pay. Meaning, so here you say, we're going to go with the Zaka and not with the Mali L'Saka. You know, for saying, okay, there is different. Amar, me, Yemen, and the He says no, because maybe he knows he has to pay it back. Really, meaning he doesn't want to pay it back early because he says, well, maybe the company is going to make us, is going to be Messiah. The Rabban are not going to be Messiah. He thinks the Rabban are not going to be Messiah, so therefore, I'm not going to pay. So that meaning, even though normally a person would pay early, possibly, but here he's never going to pay early because maybe Bezin will side with him. Okay. Fine. So then the third proof. This is not from our Mishnah. Yeah, this is a Mishnah, the standard Mishnah Akiva, like what we were talking about. Money we be out. The guy says you owe me 100. I'm a like him. They said, yes, I do owe you 100. The Machar Amaloi, the next day he says to him, give it to me, meaning give me the money. You admitted that you owe me money. The Imam on the Satullah Potter. If he says I already gave it to you, then he is Potter. But if he says I don't have the money, meaning he's sort of changing his mind, then he is chayiv because he's not believed. In my love, Nasatullah. What does Nasatullah mean? The Amr with money. It means that he said, "I'm paying it back to you. I paid it back to you in the time of the loan." And when he says, "I don't have the money," the Amr Parakit his money. It's also saying that he says, "I paid it back for his money." Because Tani chayiv, and we learn that he's chayiv. Right, so you see that when he says that he paid you, that I paid you, man, he's chayiv. Right, again, he could have said I paid it on time and been believed. He didn't. He said he paid it early, so we should believe him, but we don't believe him. Right? Why? Because he's a chazaka. Because we go with the chazaka that nobody prepays. So the fire that's a riot to that. So the one answers lie, that's not a riot. What does it mean? When it says in the Kabiyadi, he's denying it. He's saying it's not true. Right? If somebody says, anybody says I didn't borrow, it's as if he said that I didn't pay. Right?
Even if the day before he said he borrowed?
Even if yeah.
Meaning the day before he said, yes, I owe you money. The next day he says, I don't know what you're talking about.
Correct. Yeah, no. It says Lavisi said I didn't borrow, then it's as if he said I didn't pay. Right. What's that? But in that case, you're saying does this apply even if he admitted to the loan first and then the next day he denied it? That's
yeah. If he says he didn't borrow, it's the same thing as saying he didn't pay?
I think that's Taisus Kasha, what you asked me. Right? Taisus Dibramas Kola and Lavisi. Right? Yeah, look at the size. Right? Hiksha Rab Yitzchak, Matzah or Kala Tamran, Avada Kivan Fikfar Haida, Kulay Mehemen Loimers to Loiber. Right? He's no longer believed. Right? That's what you also saying the following.
I'm not following. If he says he didn't borrow, it's as if he said he didn't pay.
Yes.
But we said if he said he didn't pay yesterday, he has to pay. He's not believed if he paid early or something. How could it be the same thing? I didn't borrow.
What do you mean?
Didn't we say yesterday if a guy says he paid it early, he's not believed?
If he says he paid it early, he is not. Yes, the Chazal is that he's not believed.
So how could it be that, right? But how could it be that if he said he didn't borrow, it's the same thing as he said he paid?
No, we're changing the case. We find the Havamina that was the case, but that's not the case, right? We're saying now, what does he mean when he said, I don't have it in my hand, he's a denial. The Havamina, we thought he's saying he paid it early. Now we're saying that's not the case. Now we're saying it's he just says, I know I don't have the money. Or whatever, I didn't borrow from you or whatever it is. Right? Anyway, so that's he said I didn't pay. Okay, and Tyson is asking, I think Tyson is asking Domin's question. That it's what do you need that whole complicated case for? Of course he's not believe. Yeah, okay. Now we get into a lot of very interesting neighbor relation issues. A lot of very interesting cases. Right, so some of there's a lot of difficult translation there. Some of like Kaisel after and right? If we're going on the case where if he put up a wall, then he has to pay for everything, right? Meaning this case is talking about where the guy put up a 6-foot wall, like we said a few minutes ago. He put up a 6-foot wall, a 6-armor wall, and the other guy only has to pay for 4 armors. But then he goes and builds a parallel wall to the same height as the original wall, then it clearly shows that he likes the 6 amas, right? So then he has to pay for it. The Amar of Huna, Samach Lepalga, let's say he only built half the wall. Again, we're talking about where this guy built the wall, 6 amas high wall. And this guy says, I'm only paying for 4 amas. And then he builds a wall right next to it, 6 amas. But what happens if he only builds the wall half the length of the original wall, right? So then, again, Samach Lepalga, let's say he makes a parallel wall, only half, either half the, well, let's go with it simple, half the length. Even though Taisa says it means it can be half the length or half the height, doesn't make a difference. So, Samach Lekula, right? If he has to pay for the whole, or I'm sorry, Samach Lepalga, Samach Lekula. According to Rav Huna, if he pays for part of the wall, if he builds a part of the wall, then he has to pay for the whole wall. So Rav Nachman, or Rav Nachman says, whatever he was Simon, right? Meaning he only has to pay for the parts that he built, and that's it. The Maida loy samach. And what he didn't put, then he didn't. Yeah. So it's a basic machlokes. Again, if the guy puts up a parallel wall, that shows that he's happy with that higher wall. So the machlokes with Rav Huna and Rav Nachman is whether if he puts up a parallel wall but doesn't grow in the length, he doesn't grow, not physical, he doesn't build it in the length or the height, the equivalent, but he builds with something like that. So does he have to pay or not? So Rav Huna says he has to pay for the whole thing, even though he didn't build an entire parallel wall, and Rav Nachman says he only pays for what he built. And by the Rav Huna, but this is a little difficult to understand. Rav Huna is Maida when he attached it to the corner of his house, meaning where it's the corner of his house, he makes a little extension of the corner of his house parallel to that guy's wall, right? So since he's doing that, there's no chance of him building any more of a wall. Meaning, according to what we're saying here, maybe he built a half a wall. That's very nice, but maybe he's going to extend it later on. Why shouldn't he pay for the whole wall? So we're saying that Rav Huna's Maida in the situation where there's no way he can build out the wall anymore, then he only has to pay for what he built. By the Rav Nachman, and Rav Nachman is Maida. Again, Rav Nachman is one that says he only has to pay for the part of the wall that he built. By I don't know how to type this. The article says a frieza is a king. I don't know, anybody in construction that knows this? I don't know, Elio's not on probably, right? A king beam, a kvasa de kshuri is a cross beam. But a king beam seems to be like a piece of wood that you put along the top of the wall. Since you put the wood along the top of the wall, so therefore that shows that he plans on building on top of it. So meaning even though he only built half a wall, but if he clearly shows that he's going to be building on top of this wall, so then Rav Nachman is minded that he has to pay for the entire wall. Okay. Amar Rav Huna. Then Rav Huna says another thing. Beikave, windows, right? Meaning, let's say the guy who built the wall, right? You have two neighbors. One guy builds a wall, right? Guy that builds a wall, yeah. And in the wall, he put the windows. And then he says, why did he put the windows? Well, he put them in for the neighbor. And the question is, can he charge the neighbor and say, hey, see, I did this for you, or meaning that you agreed to build this wall. That's why I put in windows. So it's not considered a chazaka, and the guy doesn't have to pay. All right, so you go again. Eretz is Maifis again. Yeah. And even if he made himriti, which is when you like in a sukkah, this is the way I understand it. I hope I'm right with this construction business. Right? But even if he did a himriti, right, which is the himriti seems to be, like when you put the beams in to hold the stock, right? You put like what do you call it? A bracket? I'll say it's a bracket, right? Even though you make a bracket there, which also shows that clearly you put up the wall for the neighbor because the neighbor's able to be putting in brackets there. Amina, I thought that when we're gonna come to a deal, low listen is tight. We're not gonna have to. I'm not gonna have to be. I'm not gonna make it bad to make holes in it. Meaning, because I know eventually you're gonna want to use this wall. So I mean, again, neighbor number one puts up a wall. Then he puts in either windows, cross beams, king beams, whatever these things are, which would enable not king beams. That was the previous one, but cross beams that will enable the neighbor to build onto this wall. Because when eventually when you agree to me that you're going to need this wall, I'm putting it in now so that you will not mess up my wall. So you think that that would be some sort of chazaka? Should we say, it's not? Okay. If somebody has a chazaka that he can put, meaning that doesn't. Tosa says chazaka normally is 3 years, but it doesn't mean 3 years that you need 3 years to have this thing on the wall. It just means that you put something on the wall that shows that you have a right to do something to it. So achzik laharidi, if you make even a chazaka that he could put like little pieces of wood on it, like thin pieces of wood, lo achzik l'shuri, that doesn't mean he's allowed to put big beams on the wall. Because again, the neighbors can start having a fight. Right? The neighbors can start having a fight over whether he's allowed to start making holes in the wall. So the Gemara is saying if he has permission to put like a thin piece of wood, he can put a thick piece of wood. But truly, but if it gets permission to put a big beam, then it's a chazaka to put in a smaller piece of wood, because obviously if you have permission to put large pieces of wood on top of the wall, so still you have less than less. But Yosef Amar, Yosef says that if you have a chazaka for the afsik with shuli, it doesn't make a difference. Once you're allowed to put whatever type of wood on there, you're allowed to put any type of wood on there. And some say the other way. That if you have a chazaka to put small ones on, you have a chazaka to put big ones on, but shuri, and if you're allowed to put big ones, then you have a chazaka to put the small ones too. Okay, so those are the two shitas. Fine. Then Amar Amnachman another thing. Yeah.
What's this for in there being a difference? I missed your explanation. Why should there be a difference?
Because I think a heavier beam is going to put more strain on the wall, no?
But isn't the point once I'm using your stuff, it shows me that I'm noicha to it.
Yeah, but not that heavy a beam. Only.
What's the difference? If I'm using your wall, then I like your wall.
Yeah, but it's not. But maybe I only give you permission to put on the wall, or only made a deal to put a smaller beam on the wall, not such a big one. No?
I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Are we talking about having to pay for the wall?
Yes.
So what's the difference how I use it? If I'm using it, then
he's saying I never sold you the rights to the wall. I never sold you the rights to the wall for big beams. I only sold you for small beams. Right? Right? Meaning, it's what rights did he give him with those walls? Right? Anyway, fine. So the Gemara continues with that. Amar Nachman, Afsik Lenatri, if he has a chazaka, meaning you have one neighbor and he wants to let the water drip onto his lawn. Then you let the water drip onto the guy's lawn. So it depends how much. Just drops, or do you let him put a lot of water there? So Amar Nachman, Afsik Lenatri, if he has a chazaka that he's going to let it drip off, right? Meaning the entire length of the roof, he just lets it go off, drip off. Afsik l'safti, then he has a chazaka, he lets it fall off, right? Afsik l'safti, but he has a chazaka to pour a lot of it, like afsik l'natzi, then he doesn't have a chazaka to let it drip. That's because l'chayra, one is a lot worse than the other. But Yosef Amar, if you afsik l'safti, he says the other way. Even if you have a chazaka to pour tons of water, afsik l'natzi, then you have a chazaka to even let the water drip. Yeah. Again, the same you say this, that if you have a right to do one thing, doesn't mean you're going to have a right to do another. Although we say, Amar Nachman, the Nachman says, after the statue, you have a chazaka to pour it. After the statue, then you have a chazaka to let the water drip. But not to, but to make it drip. After the statue, you have a chazaka to let it pour. How about it? He took the urban like, but we're not going to let it take the urban. Stephen Orban,
What does it say?
we have them in focus.
Some of them say they-
Stephen Orban, willow branch, right? Yeah. If you have willow branches, so then that drips off so bad for whatever reason. That drips off so bad that it's not. Then it's no good because that's going to really destroy it. So you only based on whatever permission you have from the neighbor. I don't know, Garrison, you in pain there, or you making such faces of what I'm saying?
Oh, it's the way we
Just-
hear
just
you,
pain.
Tiago.
It went bad again.
You have to aim your voice at the camera.
No, I'm on the Bluetooth.
Yeah, well, it's
I'm on the
picking up
Apple.
Mayor a little bit.
I
Only
think what
clear
happened
when
was
you're
is I
looking at the camera. It's only clear when
now
you're
am I
looking.
good? Now am I better? I think what happened was is that I adjusted, it's falling out of my ear. So when I adjusted, it does some sort of control on the ear. I apologize for all the headaches. Anyway, so again, so the bottom line is what is considered, what we're having a machlok is what's considered more damaging, potential damaging to a field. Is dripping damaging or is pouring it a lot on one place? Okay. But either way, according to this thing, still no good?
No, it's muffled. It's muffled now.
It's like it's some feeling. I don't know some guy what happened. Somebody would.
You were good and then you got bad again.
I think what happens is when there's noise back there, it takes it. So now, still no? I don't know. I hit something on this.
I think the best is Rabena's trying to figure out what the heck is going on.
Yeah, because I'm breaking in and out here.
No, no,
Sorry,
no.
I don't know.
Rebecca, he's talking about the classic footage going on over here and the entertainment. This is special
Oh,
tonight.
that part I'm missing out on that one. Right?
Oh, you missing out, man. That's all I'm telling you.
It's a great ball game.
Right.
It's Grata no
Oh,
hitter.
you're in
He
a
just lost.
game?
I think the pitcher just lost his perfect game, but he still has a no hitter, right?
Tiago, I would
Yeah,
say everybody over there works for the Eight Sahara. They're on his team.
Okay, is it better now yet, or still no good? Okay, so again, tree for the Orvany, nobody's gonna want, at least according to this shot, nobody's gonna want that dripping into their yard. It's too much. Yosef Amar, if you were tree for the Orvany, even tree for the Orvany is okay. Right? Meaning, because once you allow your neighbor to let all the water run off into your property, so then that's it. Right? The other Rabbi Yosef umted with tree for the Orvany, and Rabbi Yosef did it with tree for the Orvany. Yeah. Right. So I know I'm not still bad, Parrots, or no good.
Fine, if you stare at the camera.
What does it have to do with anything? I can't stare at the camera and read the Gemara at the same time. I'm trying to. Okay. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba Yehuda. Yeah? Just shake your head and tell me if it stops. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba Yehuda. Amaska buys the Chaveira the Bira. I'll tell me base now. If somebody rents a house to his friend in a bira, in a castle or a mansion or a big house. So bira the dollar, I'm sorry, in a big house. The shtamish, the zize, the kosle, a dollar amish. He could be mishtamich. He could use the ziz, something that sticks out on the walls until up until dollar amish. Right? Meaning basically no good. So you know what? I'm just gonna walk out. Oh, give me 1 minute.
Can we go to a commercial break?
Yeah.
You want to
Take
sing
Somebody
the
asked
song
me
of the
to
dop
stop.
now?
to the
How come-
ball game.
Yeah,
come
sing
it-
the
how come
song of the
whenever
dop now.
How come
God bless America.
how come Parrots, when you want somebody to ask a kasha, nobody asks a kasha?
Exactly. Where's Ben? Where's Gershon? Nothing. These guys are stoves. Would you fall asleep? Come on.
They're busy watching the game.
Let me tell you something. I don't care what level of baseball it is. It's all the same boring. You know, but who watches baseball?
can't
I'd only
disagree
go
with
to a
you.
baseball game to get a beer and to get ripped off buying a beer. That's the only reason why you're at a game. You're at a game
You go
not
for the
drinking a beer.
social. You go for the social reasons.
I go to
Uh,
Daven Mincha in the stairwell.
That Taka, you can't find another mincha like that.
Okay, fine. Can you hear me now better?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, God just yelled at me. He stands with Jerusalem. There you go. Okay. Anyways,
what?
I really apologize. What?
Oh, free Palestine?
No, he says he stands with Jerusalem. Okay, I hope it's quiet over here. If you really want to know where I am, I'm at the bullpen. For those that are interested in seeing, there's the bullpen. So, yeah, now I'm being yelled to all the shtusim. I'm not sure if Hashem is upset at this or happy with this. I'm really not sure which way this goes. But anyway, okay. So again, the Gemara says, I'll go back to the bottom of the Amud. Yeah, so Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav Rav, a guy rents a house to his friend. So this is basically, this Shiloh right here is a common Shiloh. Who has the rights to the common areas? You rent an apartment. Are you allowed to use the lobby? Are you allowed to use the yard? Like, what's the deal? So if you have a beer anything that sticks out of the walls you can use. With the walls ad dalaramis up until dalaramis. And you can also use the thickness of the wall, but makom tinagu, in the makam where it's noig to let you use that. The tarbits afdani loy, but you're not allowed to use tarbits afdani. Basically, is the lobby. The lobby, you can't just hang out there and use, hang your hat. You can't hang your hat in the lobby. You can hang your hat on the things sticking out and all those type of things, but you cannot hang it in the lobby, right? Because the lobby is not normally meant for people to use. It's meant for people to sit there, but it's not meant for you to use for your personal. Meaning, it's not really even meant for you to hang out there. It's a fancy little lobby in the front. Yeah, again, that's why it's not like our lobbies. Our lobbies, you're meant to be able to sit in the lobby. This is sort of like the entrance way where you're really not supposed to be entering that way. Rav Nachman Dideyom, Rav Nachman himself says, "I feel the tarbets I've done. You could even use the lobby." But in the street, that doesn't really mean a street. It means like the big land that's behind the houses. Then that is not. That's for sure not allowed. Meaning, so each one is based on what's the norm, right? For Rava Amar, Rava says even the Rechava Shachari Abatim you're allowed to use. So these are all these different opinions, what you're allowed to use, what you're not allowed to use. So Amar Ravina said, if you have a beam that you built it for shade. Right? Meaning a guy has a wall, your neighbor has a wall, right? And then you go and you take a tent and you lean it on your neighbor's wall in order to get some shade. So, and then you keep doing that. Now all of a sudden your neighbor a month later comes and says, "Hey, I don't want you to do that." Right? So the question is, can you or can you not? Right? Until 30 days, there's no chazaka, and the guy can make you take it down. But once you keep it there for 30 days, then it is a chazaka. And if it's a sukkah of mitzvah, this is an interesting Gemara right here, this line. If it's a sukkah of mitzvah, meaning you use your neighbor, imagine a guy takes his neighbor's fence and he builds a sukkah on it, meaning he leans his schach on top of his neighbor's fence. So, ad Shiva Yomim loy havi chazaka, till 7 days is not a chazaka. Also Shiva Yomim, but after 7 days, havi chazaka, it is a chazaka. Right? Now, Taisus points out it doesn't mean 7 days because you have Shmini Atzeres, meaning up to 7 days is not going to make him take it down. He says, "All right, my neighbor's putting his sukkah on top of my wall, fine, right?" But then obviously it's 8 days because you can't take your sukkah down in 7 days. But after that, then it's, and Rashi says, "What do you mean after that?" After that, he expects you to take down the sukkah. So Rashi says, "No, back then people kept their sukkahs there for a whole year, right?" Fine. Ichaber Bettina, and if he
Oh,
attached
can I
this
save this
tent,
Gemara for my wife? Because mine used to stay up till Hanukkah.
very good. He kept it up a whole year. Yeah, that's very good. What's the line they say? If women had to buy the lulav and esrog and men had to cook for Pesach, clean for Pesach, they both start on Erev Pesach, right? So yeah, so you're right, Peretz. But if Zeichaber Bettina, and if he attached it with cement,
So what's the stock to the men on that one? They both start on time.
No,
It can't be.
it's not a shtoch.
No, it's gotta
not a
be.
shtoch.
It's gotta be like one way. Okay.
I'll tell you, they're both a
Yeah.
shock to women.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
I hope you ate supper already.
But good kasha on that.
Where's Rabbaran?
Yeah. Yeah. Bettina, and if he attached it with cement and la'alter, then it's a chazaka. Meaning, again, it's all tully. And what was your guy going to? What was your neighbor thinking? Meaning, if you look out your window and you see this guy attaching a tent to your wall with cement, and you don't say something, that means you don't care, right? That means you don't care. So that's what all these gemaras are telling. Amar Abaye, Shnei Batim, B'Shnei Tziliv. Now we go back to a different thing. This is also very interesting in the psychology. I don't understand this Gemara exactly, the hashkafa behind it, but let's first learn the Gemara. So Amar Abaye, Shnei Batim, B'Shnei Tziliv Yisrael. Yeah.
In the past Gemara, this city's using the side of the wall. Are we talking about a wall that's bordering both Rishuyas? Or this is a wall that he built only for himself in his own Rishus and put a hacker on?
Again, what are you saying?
Which kind of wall? There's two walls in the Mishnah. One that they build together, and one that one of them builds because the other one didn't want to build. Which wall are we talking about?
Which case are you going on?
And all the previous cases that we just had,
Yeah.
the top of the Amud, what kind of wall are we talking about? It's a wall that belongs to both of them?
It's a wall that belongs to him, I think.
Okay.
No?
It just happens to be that the property line ends at that wall, the edge of that wall.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, now we're changing gears. You have two houses on two sides of a street. Parrots. This is maybe gonna get into you, parrots. You tell everybody what you did to that neighbor that ratted you out once. So you have two houses on two sides of the street. I'll let Parrots decide whether he wants to say it. But you have two neighbors on two sides of the Rosh Hashanah. Meaning they're both using their roofs, right? So this one, does the article have a picture for this? For this Gemara?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Much more. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. It has,
Anyways,
yeah.
It's a
I think there's in the note. No 20. No.
Yeah. It does have a picture.
I don't know, but if it shows that each one has to make a half a wall. You see that's what it shows.
Sure.
Each one makes a half wall in either direction. What this does is, okay, first let's read the Gemara.
This is what it has.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
Okay.
So this one makes a michael for half his roof. This one makes a michael for half a roof. But not opposite each other. And they leave over a little extra. Meaning the point is because they want their privacy. Since they want the privacy, so therefore but you don't want to make each guy build an entire wall. So what you do is each one builds a half a wall like this. You could have your privacy. And even though you can get on the angle, you could look in there, etc. But like this, each one has their privacy, and you don't have to make them build an extra wall on top of their roof. So Gemara says, "My ear."
Is this one of those Gemaras where the Gemara is using a word that it means something else usually? Makkah. It means a kaisel. It's 4 amas, no? The Makkah that's 10 tefachim, they both have to build across the whole thing.
Right.
So this is just to confuse us, this word Makkah.
Yes, 1000%. This is not a din Micah, but that's going to come from the
Okay.
next Gemara. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, yes, it's to confuse us. So Micah just means right. That's a good point. Micah usually means to protect people from falling off a roof. This is not. This is just. It happens to be on the roof, but it's just putting a fence on the roof. Right. So again, the Gemara asks, "My ear b'shus aram." What's the difference if b'shus aram is there? Right. Afilu b'shus hayachid nami, even b'shus hayachid. What's the difference if there's no privacy? Again, this is going in Hezek Riyah, right? So there's no privacy. There's no privacy. So Rishus Haram, it's strictly no. You need the case for Rishus Haram. Now the same name of lay Saif Saif Habaz looks to me in the Rishus Haram. The guy could say, I'm not making the other guy build the fence, right? Because he has to hide from people in the Rishus Haram anyways. So Mamela, he has to already hide from people in Rishus Haram. Why am I causing him any problems? Kamash Malon, Damarle, Rabin. Say, yeah, but the rabbim during the day they could see what I'm doing. But at night they're not going to see me, right? And you, whether it's during the day or whether it's not, you're going to see me. So therefore you got to put up a fence. Inami, or if it's not rabbim, by the rabbim, they can only see me when I'm standing up. Meaning, if a guy's on the roof and the public is on the street, they're not going to be able to see you. If you're sitting down on your roof, they're not going to be able to see you. They're only going to see you if you're standing. So if you're sitting, when I sit, they're not going to see me. So possibly benka, but you are across from me. You built the roof across from me, so you're going to see me whether I'm standing or sitting. The rabbim timayanu chazli, and the rabbim when they have to be ma'ayin to look at me. They have to work hard to see me. But if they're not just going to happenstance walk by and see me, from you, you're going to see me memela. So that's why when it's a rabbim, it was saying that there's a chiddush that even the rabbim, it's not even by the rabbim, you have to when he could say that there's still privacy, there's still lack of privacy, he still can make his neighbor build a fence. So I'll tell you, I don't understand. What are the I don't know, maybe I'm asking a stupid question. What is the privacy thing that's going on over here? Right? Meaning, what are you doing here? Is it us or mutter? I mean, what are you allowed to do? What are you allowed to do on
What do
a meeting?
you guys sunbathing on his roof? Nothing wrong.
What do you mean there's nothing? Of course there's something wrong. If there's nothing wrong, then what's he embarrassed about?
Wasn't it Basra?
He wants privacy. It's not embarrassed. He wants privacy.
No, but you're not allowed to, because if you're embarrassed from people, then you have to be embarrassed from Hashem.
Didn't we learn from David HaMelech and Basra that it's mutter?
What's mutter?
She was allowed to sunbathe, whatever, moonbathe on the roof.
I don't know. I'm just trying to understand. If you're embarrassed, then we be brought up. Aren't we brought up that you can? If you're embarrassed from people, then you have to be embarrassed from Hashem.
It's not about embarrassment or not. I don't want you to look at me. Why do I have to be embarrassed? That's Hezegria. You're not. I don't have to let you look at me.
I
want to do my own thing. That's Hezegria.
The Gemara later on says that being gag lagag you don't really need. And so Tosis over here asked the question, what do you mean? The Gemara over here says you do need. So Tosis gives one answer, but I believe the Rimi Gash gives a different answer. Over here is talking about roofs where they used for and so maybe it's just a Hezegria issue. I don't know why it has to be a private thing. It's like a chutzner on Daf base. There's certain kinds of roofs they used.
I understand, but what is it?
Why does it have to be the guy sunbathing? The guy wants to, I don't know, whatever he wants to do up there. He doesn't want people looking at him.
Rashi said the whole way through that sugi of Hezekriya that the problem is Devarim Shebetzina.
Right. So what does that mean?
It can't be the same things you do in your house that you want protection from Hezekriya from? Why not?
Let's say the guy wants to eat a meal. He doesn't want people staring at him when he eats his meal. Yaakov, you never close your window shades, Sam?
Me?
I'm saying, your wife does that. Let's close the window shades.
Do I never close the window shade? Yeah, but again, it's the lashon from Rashi, like the lashon from Rashi is it sounds like it's what was the lashon you just used?
There's no comma between the word dvarim and betzina. He wants to do dvarim betzina, which usually people do in their home. He wants to do in his chutzner or his gag or wherever.
So that's what I'm saying. That's not allowed.
A person could go to a base of merchit and he's naked. That's in front of Hashem.
I don't know. Is that called?
There are certain times where things are mutter. And places, I guess.
I don't know.
It's Rabbi Yochanan by Sheitel, the Sheitel sug, you know. Rabbi Yochanan says completely mutter in her chutzner, even if it's open
in the chutzner. Right. Okay. You want to say that's enough kamina? Okay. Anyways, it's late. I don't know. I was just wondering, like, it's a little bit of a fine line, but maybe Island's not liking my kasha. Who's I here? Anyways. Okay. So now interesting, like, how hard does Rishus Rabbim have to look? I tell you, it comes up sometimes with a mechitza. Let's say you have a swimming pool at the bottom of a hill, right? And the top of it, they have a mechitza, but the top of the hill, they could see into the pool, but they have to try. Meaning, if you're just walking by, so right, you're just walking by, so then you can't, so then you won't see. But you have to consciously look. Can the women swim there?
You have to be afraid that someone a mile away is going to put a telescope in.
Yes.
Wait, did the rabbi freeze or me?
The rabbi froze. The rabbi froze.
Naftali took over.
No, I'm answering my opinion. Your face froze, if you can hear us. But my answer is yes. You have to be worried about a mile away that for women to go not
and a drone and a satellite photo.
Also, I tell you. So I was thinking today that this is a comparable issue, and then of course I get a text from a lady. She rented a pool, and people can see in. So does she have to worry about it? I can't believe somebody's asking me this question today. It's not such a common question. Came out that the whole issue was not an issue. There was no mechitza on this pool at all. It was in a non-Jewish neighborhood. I said, well, if it's no mechitza at all, then I don't see how you can do that, right? So, but again, they said maybe it's only goyim. That's a shvacha thing. Either way, that was a little bit of a nafkamina that maybe comes out from this Gemara. Okay, so Amar, we're 4 lines up from the wide lines. And they leave over a little bit, meaning if you look at that in the article, if you look at the what do you call it? The picture. So it has to overlap each other a little bit. The diagram, thank you. It has to overlap each other a little bit. So it says pshita, it's pashit, right? Well, there's different days of what the Gemara's pshita is. Pshita that they have to build these walls, or pshita that it has to overlap. When it says like the kadam chamina of it, maybe one of them, we're talking about where one of them builds the wall halfway. Now the same name either. Maybe the other guy will say, azinka bavde eskulim. Once you already started building half the wall, okay, so then build the whole wall, and I'll pay you back. My time. How come you didn't put up a wall on your roof? How come I only did? Because you don't want to put on an extra wall on top of your wall, because meaning on top of all the house, because your wall might collapse. I also am going to. I also don't want my full wall. Meaning, I'm a half a wall I'm willing to put up, but not the full wall. Okay, so then Amar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel, Gag hasamach l'chatzah chavera. So this we had in the Mishnah a little bit. Well, on Beis and Beis we had it. A roof that's close to the chatzah chavera. Oisel and Micah gevoyer dalet amas. He makes a Micah 4 amas high. But between one roof and another roof, you don't have to. So again, if you have a roof that's overlooking somebody's chatzah, this gets into the whole pool issue, like we discussed. Right? Your pool, you have somebody with a pool in the backyard, and now you made a roof that's usable. So now do you have to build anything? So we say a roof that's close to chatzah chavera, you have to make a wall 4 amas high. I would be gag but from one gag to another gag, not. But I'm not going to do you don't need dalet amas at all. But you need a mechitza of 10. So the Gemara says, Lamai, what do you mean a chitza of 10 tefachim? What is that for? Lamai, Izel has a griya, arba amas binan. If it has a griya, you need 4 amas. Elin, it's a select ganav, it's because you look like a ganav, the mesivas ba'amas sagi. Then all you need, you don't want from one roof to the other roof, you want to just put up some sort of sign, right? If it's to keep out the goats and the sheep, the facially is darker so they don't jump. The bas rosh sagi, that's enough with a. I'm sorry, because they is darker the bas rosh sagi, then it's enough that they can't put their head in there, which is what, right? Which is 3 tefachim, love it.
3 tefachim, yeah.
Right. So the Gemara says, "La'ilam, then it's just love the ganim." Really, he needs to put up the 10 tefachim. It shouldn't be a ganim. But when there's like these signs, he's able to get out of it. He can say, "Oh, I didn't see the sign." That is interesting. This in the brackets it says Amar min mutzri kamin. Some have this gives it, some not, which means that he's able to. He says, "I just happened to be walking and I stepped over the boundary." In the pizza sasara, but if it's in the pizza of 10, that he's not allowed to. That he's there's no way for him. He can't say, "Oh, I happened to wander over in the pizza of 10." I think
the Yad Ramah says nafka minas for Bava Machteres. Once the guy crosses over your boundary, then you could kill him. That's because he's a gan. Now he's a ganif. And the guy comes to steal in your house, you can kill him.
That's very good. That's very good.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like funny. Like, who cares if he's a ganif or not? Like, what does it matter?
That's very good topic because we were wondering what's a pshat, like who does he look like a ganif? Who's this for?
Right.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. So Meisvei, so they had a kasha.
Well, that would only apply if he steps over with a weapon.
I don't know enough about Bava Machteres, but he has to have a weapon.
Yeah. There has to be a chashav he's going to kill you.
For those of you not in New York, Mincha's in 5 minutes less.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, okay, let's go back. So Meisvei, if his chutzner is above the friend. Now this is the opposite. His yard is above his friend's roof, sort of like Harnof, right? Meaning where you have different people, different thing. Meaning you have, it's built into a mountain. So here the guys, till now we're talking about the roof is over the yard. Here's the yard over the roof. So again, what's the difference? Because a roof is not used nearly as often for things as a yard is. So he doesn't have to pay for it. My love ain't is like wow. Doesn't that mean we don't have to help him at all? Right? Which is the kasha on Rav Nachman. So you see, you're not worried about anything. You're not chayav to do dalet amos. But you are mechuyev to do 10 tefachim. You're not mechuyev to do 4 amos. That much you're not allowed to do. But more than that, then you can. That's up to 10 tefachim, yes, but more than that, no. Okay, one more case. You have 2 yards, one on top of the other one. Again, this using the same thing like with Harno, pulled into a mountain. So 2 yards, one on top of the other. So now he's gonna have to build a wall in between the yards, but he's gonna have to start building the wall from the lower yard because otherwise the wall is gonna fall off. Right? It might fall. Meaning, if you build the wall right on the edge of a cliff, it's very possible that wall is just gonna collapse off the cliff. So you want to start the wall from the bottom, guys. Right? And I think it's pretty straightforward. It's like we had with in Klein. Is it in Klein? No, we had it in Klein, and we had it here, where it grows out of the side. Meaning one guy's chutzner is here, and then up a step is the other guy's chutzner. So in order to build a fence, you're gonna have to start it from the bottom guys. So who should pay for the bottom guys? Right? Should the top guy have to pay for the bottom guy or not? The Amar Ahuna, Tachton Bainam Mikanegda Va'ila. The lower guy builds it Mikanegda and goes up. The Elyon Bainam Mikanegda Va'ila. And the top guy goes from the Kenegda and Oila. Meaning, according to Rahuna, the bottom guy has to pay for the bottom part of the fence, and the top guy just pays, then they split the top part. Right? But Rav Chisda Amar Elyon Masayim Lamata Ubaina. Rav Chisda says the top guy has to pay for both. He has to pay for the bottom and the top. Tani comes to Rav Chisda, Shtei Chatzeres Zulam Alazu, you have 2 Chatzeres, one on top of the other. Lo Yamar Elyon, the top guy can't say Harini Baina Mikanegdi Va'oila. I'm going to build opposite me and go up, right? Meaning I'm only paying for my section. He has to pay, he has to help out and from the bottom and build. And if his chutzner is above the gag of his friend, he is not chayiv to meaning if it's the chutzner above the gag, he's not mechuyev to do it. But that's only he's not mechuyev to do 4 amas, like the Gemara said before. 10 tefachim he has to do. Okay, we'll stop over there. I apologize for all the disturbances. Appreciate the Olam's patience. Tillim, you pay Paragid Gimel.